Okay. This is the part two to this video, just because I just still feel like talking about it. But I don't want to. I don't want to spend too much time. I gotta move on and do other things. Um, who knows? You know, once you start going, you just start going. An example of what I'm talking about, and I saw another movie recently, is Source Code. What's his name? I think it's what's the dude's name. I believe it's Jake Gyllenhaal. Is that his name? Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, that's him. So in a movie called Source Code, right? He is a army. He was a military guy. He was a veteran, right? And like he got into an accident, and his body was somewhat destroyed, but a piece of his brain was still active. And they uploaded his consciousness into this program, and they named it Source Code, right? So with that, it's like more so his consciousness was like in a limbo type of state or whatever, and they were able to like link it to somebody else's brain and subconscious that was in a terrorist attack on a train, right? So they wanted to figure out how that train exploded, who did it, who's the cause of that terrorist attack, and everything. So they would keep they made like a program, a system of where they could upload his consciousness into one of the victims on that train's consciousness for a certain amount of time, like 8 minutes, right? And they're able to keep replaying those 8 minutes before the incident actually happened. And it was his job to try to investigate and figure out how that came about. You know, um, it's just like kind of going like to quantum physics, I think, in theory. So he had the idea. So say he did it. Fast forward, he ended up figuring out who it was, and the reason why they had him do that because there was supposed to be a second attack. That was like just the first attack. So if they could figure out who did it, then in the simulation that he kept being able to go back to and make changes in it, right? Like say the event already happened, right? The event, the train actually exploded. Those people actually died. It's over with. They just wanted to use that so he can prevent a future attack, and they did that. But he wanted to die fully. He didn't want to just keep being in this system, right? So the lady felt bad when she thought it was like morally wrong that we just keep using this man's consciousness over and over and over to just for endless forever. You know, he wanted to die after that. So the lady, she made a deal with him. She said, okay, can I just go in one more time? Because he felt like he kind of like grew interest to this woman that was on that train that he kept talking to, or like the dude whose conscience that he was in. They, you know what I'm saying? So, but he liked their girl himself, uh, with his new consciousness. So he wanted to go in one more time, right? And he's believing this like you guys think this like he's like, yo, this already happened. Like you can't save her. You can't save her. He's like, yes, I can. Cause look, I'm actually making changes in this thing right there. But she's like, yeah, but you already died. He already died. And so he tried to like make a test, like do a test. So when he went in for one of the 8 minutes, he got on the phone. Was like, "Hey, can I use your phone real quick?" And he called, or he sent a message to one of the, I don't know, one of the agents at the military base that was doing the code stuff, and he sent an email to them. When he got back out, the dude said, "I didn't get that email. Yeah, you may have sent an email, but that is not in this reality. That's something that happened to a whole different reality." So they thought they built that thing, the source code program, and it was like a fixed, only 8 minute reality. He ended up being to the point where he was able to live a whole that what they thought was just 8 minutes was actually a whole entire different reality, a whole different world, right? So on his last time going there, he stopped the attack. And there was no bomb or nothing like that. He was just gonna enjoy his last 8 minutes, right? And once those 8 minutes were up, and she, in the real world, she unplugged him from life support, because like as she said she would. After those 8 minutes was up, and after his body that it didn't return back to the thing because it was hooked up to the machine, but he was dead. It went beyond 8 minutes, and he was able to keep living his whole life in that simulation, but it wasn't. It was a whole different world. And also on his last trip there, he sent an email message to the lady that was working with him, a long email saying, "Look, if you're getting this email, this is coming from me, like the guy that's in the source code thing, and this is in the reality before they even got to even test it out. So he prevented him doing that. He prevented a whole entire attack before it happened in another reality, and she got the message and everything, telling him, explaining to her like, this is not just like an 8-minute thing. You guys created it all. You guys made something that you don't even know its full capabilities, which is a whole different universe that's going on. And that was all generated off of the choices that he made. Off of his choices. He made a whole separate world, a whole separate parallel reality, right? And so I say all that to say this is like, that is literally, if you could think about it in this way, that is literally what's going on with all of us that we're here. We all have our own, you know what I'm saying, angles of perception and angles of perception. Like, have you ever heard people say like, my red is not your red? You know, like, and this is it's kind of, I don't know why it's always hard for people to grasp. I mean, I do, because it used to be hard for me to grasp. I'm like, oh wait, no, that makes sense, right? So say like, this is red. This is red, right? We're both like, yeah. But how I see it as red may not be how you see this as red. I'm holding up, but like, we can agree. Oh, what color is it? Red, yeah. But forever, this might look blue to you, right? But for your whole life, you thought what you know as blue is red. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're both, but you think the same thing that I'm seeing, what you're saying, whatever this color is. And guess what? We will never know that. You'll never know that. Let me give you another example to kind of grasp that. Is like, say people that have a different political ideologies, right? But they get so fixated and they identify with whatever that political party is and stuff. It could get to a point where it's no matter what you say, how you say it, try to break it down. Just the fact that you identify with the opposing political party that I'm at, I'm not hearing anything you say, because you already have so many preconceived notions on what my perspective is coming from, of how I'm relaying the information. It gets to the point where you're not being fully heard. I don't know what you say. You could be speaking a whole different foreign. You might as well be speaking a foreign language to me, because I'm like, I hear you talking, but it will not intercept through to them for them to actually understand it, because there's so many other, like I said, preconceived things that are concrete in their mind, in their perception of what it is. Let alone just the fact that you identify with this. I'm only hearing so much, or I'm not going to be able to hear at all. You know, and it's a shame, because you have people that block off potential. You're blocking your potential. You're stunting your growth and potential as a human being. You should be able to think outside of a category of whatever it is. But when you try to challenge people's ideas like that, in that type of way, you will realize it's like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Talking to a brick wall, all right, this is going nowhere. And no matter what I say, it can't go anywhere. Say like even like if you're like in a toxic relationship, right? That person already sees you in a certain way. So say you guys leave for a time, you come back, try to rekindle things. That person, no matter what, yeah, this is different. You don't do that as much no more. This, and that. But at the core, if they're not able to conceptualize full, actual change, that will always be at their core, and they're gonna always operate off of that. It's like, you know what? You might be saying the right message, but you're the wrong messenger. Or literally, this isn't a good time for me. It can do with timing. It could do wherever you're at in the place, whatever you do, what you got going on in your headspace, just how somebody is looking, past things, shit that ain't even got to do nothing with it, all affect how someone's going to be able to perceive that type of information. And only reason why that would affect them so much is because they prioritize and put more validity into the external rather than their internal. That's something that they haven't even really, you know what I'm saying, confidently even worked on or solidified within themselves, but still have the facade believing that they have. But those that defining of self has been defined by external things, not internally. And how it can be defined internally, there has to be a whole thorough unlearning and relearning of what your said identity is. You feel me? Like it's like you have to strip it completely. Strip from what you've been raised, how you've been raised, where you've been raised, what you used to like, you know what I'm saying, from your life experiences. You have to, of course, it's probably always going to be a party, you know, right, in a way, but for you to be able to recognize that, recognize why you do what you do and why you like or dislike what you like and why and how you came to the conclusions that you came to, not just accepting it as is. Saying a whole lot. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna wrap it up. Maybe it could be continued. I don't know. Depends on if people want to even continue this. But yeah, it's a lot of power in that. And I can say this too. Even that whole process I'm talking about, that ain't nothing that's comfortable. That's not something that's so easy to do. It takes courage in a way to do so, to like look at yourself like that. And a lot of people don't want to look at themselves like that, or a lot of people that never were even taught to even know how to do that, to know that that's even a thing. And like I said, that's based off of upbringings and a whole bunch of other factors and stuff. But really, there's so much. What am I trying to say? I don't know. I don't know if it's and this is the thing. I don't know if that is. I would hope so. I'm hopeful that I would hope that that's something that is possible and a capability for every single person. I'm hopeful to believe that, but I can't. It's hard for me to be like, yeah, that's possible. That's 100%. Yeah, everybody can do that because literally, it's literally from how you came up or whatever the way that you process, and I can't be in somebody's head and tell them that. Like I said, like for the color, I can't tell you like red is really like this and that's not really like that, you know. So yeah, it's hard to say that's something that is innate in everybody. I want to believe that it is though, um, but yeah, doing so though is what grants people true liberation. I feel like because it's like it's at that point, it really like it's all up to you. You can realize like it really is all my fault. Everything is my fault. I can't blame it on nothing and anybody else, no matter what. It sounds crazy, right? Well, no matter what, it is really all up to you. It's all your fault. You know, that might sound crazy, it might sound extremely dramatic, but it's low key like an absolute truth. But for some people, it's not. Something else is, and it's like, well, why would you want something else other than that to be an absolute truth for you? You know, why grant something outside of yourself that power that dictates whatever you do? And of course, things happen. You know what I'm saying? It's just me saying that. Like, of course, other things affect you, or how things move for you. You know what I'm saying? But it's more so just like I said, it's choice. It's a choice on how you continue on. Is this going to define you, or you going to define yourself, regardless of what has been impressed upon you? Yeah. Yeah, feel free to comment on this. I want to hear people's opinions and viewpoints on this. This is the whole. This is what we supposed to be doing, man. We're supposed to express these thoughts we got, these philosophies, or just whatever. Our perceptions. more and more more and more that we do that, the more we will come to more common conclusions about stuff. I'm sure I don't believe I'm the only person that thinks about stuff like this. I know for a fact I'm not. We most definitely need to get comfortable in sharing, and expressing, no matter what. True, full expression, no matter what. And I hope we can get there. So feel free to voice your opinion on this, whether you agree to disagree. Open for the discourse, and yeah, I'm gonna come back more, come back with a whole bunch more with this. All right.